Tottenham against Chelsea in the first leg of the Carabao or League Cup semi-final. A very difficult game at Wembley awaits the Blues, who still face uncertainty of a lot of attacking players' fitness situations, while Maurizio Sarri finally deems Callum Hudson-Odoi as ready to play in the big games. To find out everything you need to know about both sides ahead of the game, injury news, tactics, etc., be sure to watch all of this preview. Hello there guys, and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Tottenham versus Chelsea game in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, taking place tomorrow evening on Tuesday evening at 8 PM UK time, obviously at Wembley. And of course, I'm looking forward to the game. I kind of want revenge for obviously the game in November, obviously, but not just tomorrow. We just want to beat them over both legs and obviously get to the final. That would obviously be class. And yeah, this is the preview. There will be a review, there will be fan cams, there will be a vlog, all sorts of content surrounding the game, as there is for every game. So do make sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. And also, let's see whether we can hit 500 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated. So please do make sure to smash that like button down below. But now getting straight into the review and starting it off by speaking about our opposition, Spurs. Tottenham currently sitting third. 6 points over Liverpool, who are top. 2 points behind Man City, who are just ahead of them, and 4 points clear of ourselves, who are obviously just behind them. So far, they've won 16 games. They've drawn 0 actually, which is a little bit mad, but they've also lost 5 games already so far this season, with a goal difference of plus 25, scoring 46 goals and conceding 21. Now, they've scored quite a bit more than we have, especially recently, but also conceded 5 more than us, as we are actually currently the second, the team that has conceded the second least amount of goals, so far in the league, behind Liverpool. And to be honest, Tottenham's form has been very good recently, with the exception of their defeat to Wolves a couple of weeks ago. For a while, also when we last played them, they got good results usually, but got fortunate in quite a few of their games and rarely won convincingly, you could say. But around Christmas, that changed. A 2-0 win against Arsenal in the League Cup quarter-final, 6-2 they won away at Everton, and then 5-0 against Bournemouth back home for them at Wembley at the moment. And then, obviously, like I said, that remarkable 3-1 home defeat to Wolves, but then it was straight back to winning for them. A 3-0 win over Cardiff, and then a 7-0 smacking of League Two side Tranmere Rovers in the FA Cup last Friday. And as Sarri also spoke about in his press conference, our 3-1 loss at Wembley earlier this season, back in November, it was bad. Like, we basically threw it all away in the first 50 minutes of the game, even though we should have had a penalty at 1-0 down. But Spurs could have easily scored 5 or 6, if not more throughout that game. Like, it was ridiculous. Generally, our performance was just an embarrassment, quite frankly. Well, to be honest, we lost 3-1. Giroud scored late on, but we basically scored from the only real chance we had all game. Like, our passing was horrible. The movement was basically non-existent. The defense was all over the shop. And our attacking, left a lot, if not everything, to be desired. It was just an awful game. And as much as we all dislike them, they're a very good team with very good players and a very good manager. They almost always play in a 4-2-3-1 formation to start with, but do adapt it to their opponent to some extent. Against us, for example, Heung-min Son was making a lot of runs in behind, especially on the right, and was constantly found with over the top and through balls, while Dele Alli and Eriksen, obviously you kind of play next to Son, in the original lineup, more moved between the lines and kind of took Jorginho out of the game and obviously tried to get on the ball between those lines and then obviously threaten us from there. Spurs do have a few players out injured at the moment, such as Lucas Moura, Victor Wanyama and also Eric Dyer, while Lamela was ill but has returned to training recently and should be in contention to play against us. While both Jan Vertonghen and Moussa Dembele have been out for quite a while now, but are reportedly back in training, although they didn't feature against Tranmere Rovers in the Cup last Friday. Whether they, will now be ready to face us is currently unknown to me, at least, and I haven't found anything anywhere online. But yeah, they still just have very good players pretty much all over the pitch. Dele Alli always scores against us, which pisses me off like no end. I just don't like the guy. He annoys me. Eriksen is ridiculously good at, a lot of things. His crossing, his set pieces are extremely dangerous. And also, Heung-min Son is a very good player, and obviously so is Harry Kane, who's got 14 goals and 4 assists in 21 games so far this season. But also their defence is stacked with, loads of good players. Only the holding midfield with Dyer and Wanyama and possibly Dembele out is maybe lacking slightly. But Harry Winks, who's currently, being played there, at least recently, also isn't bad by any means. They just have a very good team, and generally it's going to be a difficult game. But, you all knew that before, this preview, before listening to me say it. But does that mean it's impossible for us to go and get a good result there? It most certainly isn't. But to be honest, that was really it about Tottenham, and now getting into Maurizio Sarri's pre-match press conference. And he started it off by speaking about team news. And he did say that all of Olivier Giroud, Pedro and Willian are doing a lot better and have trained with the group yesterday. But Sarri isn't currently sure whether they will be able to play tomorrow, and that, did say that they definitely won't be able to play for 90 minutes. Obviously, Ruben Loftus-Cheek had to come off against Nottingham Forest, and, Sarri confirmed that he is out. And it has actually been reported that he will be out for quite a while now, at least until the end of January. As Sarri said as well, that we just need to figure figure out, the situation with his back, the issue with his back, because obviously he's been dealing with back problems for a while now and also had back issues when he was at Palace last year. So we kind of need to figure that out. And then kind of getting to the best news of the day, at least in my opinion. As Sarri was asked about Callum Hudson-Odoi and about obviously the rumours linking him to Bayern Munich. Now Sarri firstly said that for him, Callum Hudson-Odoi is a very important player to the team and for himself, like as the manager, and thinks that he's actually much better off staying at Chelsea rather than moving to the Bundesliga. Because he has a future in England, with the national team and with Chelsea. And to top it all off, the boss then said that Hudson-Odoi is now ready to play in the Premier League after saying the contrary, to be honest, a few weeks ago. Mainly because apparently Hudson-Odoi, well according to Sarri, Hudson-Odoi has improved a lot in the last month, especially in the defensive phase and the movement without the ball, and generally just with an excellent performance against Nottingham Forest, obviously, on the weekend. And by the way, him constantly going on about this defensive phase and movement of the ball, that doesn't mean that he's only talking about the negatives to Callum Hudson-Odoi's game. That's not what it means. It just means that the rest was already good enough to play in the Premier League, but those aspects were not, and that's why he hasn't played there, hasn't played, more yet, obviously also his age and experience, stuff like that, but that's obviously, at least according to Sarri, one of the main reasons. Sarri then actually went as far as saying that while we have very important players in his position, obviously with Hazard, Willian and Pedro, that he can now actually consider Hudson-Odoi on the same level as Willian and Pedro. And all of this obviously sounds incredible, but let's not forget that obviously this is a player who we're trying to convince to sign a new contract, to sign a contract extension at Chelsea, and to try to stop him from leaving to a big club like Bayern Munich. So, obviously Hudson-Odoi won't sign it because of what Sarri said, and, Sarri has to make true of those words, if you will, and has to actually use him and, prove that he thinks Hudson-Odoi is ready. Otherwise, he won't sign a new deal and won't stay, I don't think. Whether he'll leave now or in the summer or another time is a different story, but he won't sign a new contract, at least, I don't think. But still, he obviously has to say things like that, because otherwise there's no, like if he says, all right, I don't see him as playing anytime soon, well, Hudson-Odoi is obviously never gonna, sign a new contract and really push for that move to Bayern Munich. And lastly, in the press conference, the boss talked about what we learned from our defeat at Wembley earlier in the season. And Sarri said that we just need to approach the game completely differently. Spurs had more intensity and determination than us throughout the whole game, but basically in the first 50 minutes, because that's really when we lost the game, first and foremost, because obviously we were 2-0 down within 16 minutes. And he said that has to change. Only then we can talk about tactical changes, but did hint that we could make some tactical changes compared to what we usually do. And to be honest, I have no idea why he would say that publicly. Wouldn't it be better if Spurs thought, well, we try the same thing we always try, and then we surprise them? But, at least he hinted at it. Maybe we won't do it. And that's going to be the surprise effect that we'll do what we always do anyway. With that being it about the press conference, let's now get to Chelsea. And obviously starting off with speaking about the lineup. And that today is a really tricky one to predict, simply because there's a lot of players with, to me, slightly unknown fitness situations. So I don't really know who to predict to start, because I just don't know who's fit, who's going to be fit tomorrow. And as much as I want to beat Spurs, I wouldn't rush any of Pedro, Willian and Olivier Giroud back. We need them for the long run this season, not for one game. I want to beat them. I want to win the League Cup. But more importantly is to finish top 4. And, we can't rush them back and then, them having to come off after, 50, 60 minutes and then be injured for another month. Like, we can't be having that. Also, Mateo Kovacic wasn't involved in any of the last 2 games, reportedly through illness. Not exactly sure what kind of illness, it is or it was. But he also wasn't mentioned by Maurizio Sarri to be out for the game tomorrow. But neither was he, mentioned as that for the Southampton game, nor by Gianfranco Zola ahead of the Forest game. So maybe he's still out. We just don't know. Generally, though, illnesses just can take a lot of energy from the body. So even if he is fine again, he might not be ready to start simply because, he just lost a lot of energy and might not be ready to play more than, say, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then obviously he couldn't start. But I will go out on a limb and say that if he is fine to start, he will start. And if he isn't, well, it's going to have to be Ross Barkley now, really, because, Ruben is out injured. And even if Fabregas hasn't officially left Chelsea, let's be honest, he's not going to play. Especially because he picked up a calf injury, at the end of the Forest game anyway. So, we do know who's going to start from goal to midfield. We do know that. Kepa Arrizabalaga is going to be in goal. The back 4 is going to consist of Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso to the fullbacks, even though it really should be Emerson just to deal with Heung-min Song's pace down that right-hand side a lot better than we did when we first played them this season. The 2 centre-backs are going to be Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz. Then the midfield is going to be Jorginho and N'Golo Kanté next to either Kovacic or Ross Barkley. Like I said, if Kovacic is fit to start, I'm 100% sure that he will start there. Because, even if we are going to make slight tactical changes, which obviously Sarri hinted at, like I said, we won't go away from the 4-3-3 formation, so we still, we will still stick with that. But then coming to the front 3 is where it gets near and impossible to predict, in my opinion. If none of Willian, Pedro and Giroud are fit to start, it's simply going to have to be Hazard on the left, Hudson-Odoi on the right, with Morata starting up front. And as you know, I would really like Hazard to start down the middle, as I think he's most influential there, at least in maybe not influential in our gameplay, but most influential in the scoreline. And obviously against Spurs in a kind of knockout game, even if it has 2 legs, that is the most important thing. But that would obviously require at least one of Pedro or Willian to be ready to start, because I simply have, I cannot see him starting Victor Moses. So that's just not going to happen. So it needs one of Pedro or Willian to start, if Hazard was to start down the middle. Now, if they both are fit to start, they might both start either side of Hazard, simply because I think Sarri would actually really like to go for a false 9 against Spurs, and maybe that is that, slight tactical change compared to when we first played them, when obviously Morata started up front. And if them two would start next to Hazard, probably after an hour or so, they would both be taken off for Hudson-Odoi and Morata or Giroud, with Hazard obviously moving out to the left simply because, he said they're not ready for 90 minutes. So, they'd probably be taken off after, at least at some point. Now, there's no point today giving you a predicted lineup or even a lineup that I would hope for, simply because I just don't know who will be fit. It's useless, because we know the back 5, we know the midfield, it's going to be Kovacic or Barkley, whoever is fit. Then the front 3 is just completely dependent on who's fit, so there's no point predicting it or even particularly stating what I hope for, because there's no point hoping for something that's not going to happen because they're injured anyway. But in the game, we simply can't afford to start so slow again as we did in the last game. We simply cannot afford to do that again, and we need to make sure that we don't allow Huminson to run in behind as easily as he did last time. We cannot allow that again. We cannot allow him to cause us as many problems as easily. We simply cannot allow it. Of course, we need to both move and pass much better. Like, if we don't do that, there's basically, again, absolutely no hope. Obviously, we need to defend better. We need to have more intensity. We need to just be more determined, if you will. Just need to try a little bit harder. But also, obviously, the finishing needs to be better. Like, it's the same as ever. When we do have the ball, they will press us to some extent. They will try to take Jorginho out of the game. But the more we move, the more we pass, the easier it's going to be to play around their press, play around them trying to take Jorginho out of the game, and then we will find spaces. And those spaces can then hopefully be exploited by our attacking players, whoever those may be. Now, there is a good chance that I'll be at the second leg. The second leg is Stamford Bridge. So please, can we just still be within a realistic chance of going through after the game tomorrow? That's for me the main thing. Not just because I'll be there, but just genuinely. I mean, I'd happily take a draw tomorrow. I'd even take a loss with a 1-goal margin, and obviously I would be absolutely buzzing with a win. Now, actually, just to mention it, the semi-final rules in the League Cup have actually changed. The away goal rule is not in place anymore, not even, in extra time. Simply because there is no extra time anymore, because if the score is level on aggregate after both legs, after 90 minutes in both legs, the game will simply go straight to penalties without any extra time, and obviously the winner will be found and decided there. Now, my score prediction is going to be a 1-1 draw. I would take a 1-1 draw as well. I hope we can limit Tottenham to scoring just 1. And unless Hazard starts up front, I just don't see us scoring 2. I just don't see us scoring more than 1, to be honest. I mean, if Hazard is down the middle, maybe a 2-2 draw or a 2-1 win. I would be very happy with that, of course. A 2-1 win, that would be incredible. But yeah, that's going to be my score prediction. I think this video is long enough as it is. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, basically. Leave me all of your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below ahead of the game. Do you want to predict any, any lineups, basically? Do you want to tell me what lineups you're hoping for? But like I said, we just don't know who's fit. But do leave me your score predictions and anything else you just want to add ahead of the game down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 500 or more likes on this video. That would be massively appreciated. So please do make sure to smash that like button down below. Of course, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter. As you can see over here, and also the links to both of them are down in the description below. So if you could follow me over there, I would absolutely love you for it. And of course, this is YouTube. So if you haven't already, please do make sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of our future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.